So it seems then that one of the 3 Solomon Islands Easter eggs has now been found. The Battlefield Easter egg community has been probably pulling their hair out for the last week or so, trying to find this Predator Easter egg that we spoke about before, but their efforts were partly rewarded last night when a couple of members, Pergy21 and Poultrygeist2, managed to find another Easter egg. This one is known as Swedish Parrot, and it's one of the smaller Easter eggs already hinted at by DICE developer Nicholas Ostrand, who has been leaving cryptic teasing messages all week as the community has been searching for the Predator. Now, Swedish Parrot is an audio-only Easter egg, and it's quite difficult to hear, but it can be found by heading over to the small river islands behind the E-capture point on the Solomon Islands map. These 3 islands are very close to the far bank of the river, and they're covered in rocks and a few trees, and if you stand in this location for a while, you're going to start hearing different ambient noises. Most of them can be heard all over the jungle, but there are a couple of them that will sound somewhat different, and those noises are the voices of the DICE audio team who decided to lock themselves in the audio recording room and try and make themselves sound like parrot noises for a few hours. It's nice to hear some of the developer's sense of humour kicking in a little bit. As I said, the sounds are fairly quiet. I turned that audio up as far as I could make it go so that you could hear them. So if you want to go listening for yourself, I would recommend doing that in a community server so that the battle and the war that's going on around you doesn't drown out the sound. But according to Nicholas, he said that hopefully in the next patch, the audio of this Easter egg will be slightly increased in volume anyway, so it might be a little bit easier to hear after the next update. That's nothing officially confirmed, of course. He's just asked if that could be the case, but there's nothing like being distracted in a gunfight from the sounds of some Swedish developers who couldn't resist joking around, making some parrot noises. Now, as I say, that is just the first Easter egg on the map. There are 2 more that we can find. The first one is, of course, the Predator Easter egg. That's a random one, and it cannot be directly triggered by players. And then there's another one, according to Nicholas, that is much rarer and unlikely to occur, and at the moment, it's not currently active in the game. It's not finished. Now, on the Predator Easter egg front, unfortunately, we've not made any progress whatsoever. With the Solomon Islands 24/7 map rotation now offline and replaced with something else, the exposure to this map has dropped sharply because it's mixed in with lots of others in the rotation, and that means that the chances of finding this have also dropped quite considerably because there are less servers running the map. Now, the actual percentage chance of the Easter egg being active on any one server that's running Solomon Islands at that time is now 49%. That's a slight increase from when it launched, and it's now been confirmed that this is an Easter egg that you can see. According to Nicholas, there will be no doubt of what you are seeing when you solve this Easter egg. Up until now, the Easter egg community didn't really know what kind of Easter egg they were searching for and what would happen when it triggered, but now we know there is something to see, and I think there will also be something to hear as well. If a predator appears on the map, then I'd like to think that DICE went and made it make some noise. The tweets that are coming from Nicholas, trying to sort of help the community along in their search, they've all included images around the D flag area on Conquest, so any server running any game mode that features this play area will be in with a chance of having the Easter egg activated. And at this point, I'm pretty confident that someone must have already seen what we are looking for, this predator thing, but no one's actually recorded it and has got any footage or any proof that they actually saw it. Or maybe they were on the server at the right time, but they weren't in the right place, so they didn't see it. And then there's this other Easter egg that doesn't have a name yet. Right now it's still under construction, according to Nicholas, and so at the moment we can't trigger it. It's likely to be finished off in a future patch, hopefully the next one, which is coming out, I think, in the next couple of weeks. And then after that, the community can sort of go hunting for it. But this currently unnamed Easter egg, apparently it's much harder to find and activate for several reasons. First of all, the percentage chance is around 10% of finding it, which is much lower. Secondly, you can only activate it on official servers, so no community games, private servers can be used for searching. And then thirdly, you can't do it in the pre-round either, so it's going to be much, much harder to find. But as I say, right now, we can sort of put it to one side because it's not finished yet. Now, I'm sure there are many of you out there who just simply don't care about Easter eggs whatsoever, and that's absolutely fine. You know, if you want to just play Battlefield 5, then that's what you bought the game for. Go and do it. But I also know that there are many of you out there that do like Easter eggs, because every time I make these kind of videos, people seem to be really active in the comments and sharing ideas about where things could be or what could happen. I personally really like Easter eggs because I think they give the game that they're in a little bit more soul. They show that the developers really care about what they made, to the point that they went the extra mile and made something completely different and then put them there to sort of sign the work off, as it were. This little bit of hidden detail that may or may not be found, like a signature to say that they kind of did that work. I also think that they really help with building a community as well. They excite active fans of the game because you're sort of offering them a different objective, I guess you could say. Playing Battlefield games, we do that because we like the combat, we like the setting, we like the maps, the weapons, the vehicles, whatever, but these Easter eggs, and more specifically, the ones that kind of lead us on a trail with multiple points that you have to solve, those are separate objectives that are hidden away from the normal headline stuff. And I think you remember that more vividly. For me, the time spent searching for and reporting on Easter eggs in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, those are some of the most memorable times I've had as part of the Battlefield community. I've met some really cool people through taking part in this stuff. I've spoken to a lot of other passionate Battlefield players that I otherwise wouldn't have spoken to or ended up playing with for several hours at a time. And that's really cool, and it's a part of my gaming world that I'm really grateful for having. The Phantom program during the Battlefield 4 days, that was perhaps the pinnacle of Easter egg hunting in Battlefield games, and I would say it's on par with finding the Nansha Strike Megalodon and then following the trail again and figuring out the Megalodon Easter egg on Paracel Storm on the CTE client. Battlefield 4 was a game that was somewhat kept relevant and in the minds of gamers because of the Easter eggs that it contained and the journeys that you could go on to find these Easter eggs. And that's all completely separate to the main point of playing the game, of course. But all the same, it brought the community closer together. It got people excited. It got people playing the game. It got people having fun. And ultimately, I think it created a better bond between the developers of the game and the people playing the game. And that can be something that's very difficult to achieve at the best of times. Even if a game is really, really well liked, that doesn't mean that the players feel connected to the team that put all the hard work in to actually make the game and make the Easter egg. I think the community around Battlefield 4 really felt connected to the development team behind the game when they were working their way through all those complicated steps, trying to decode things or trying to find those hidden dog tags so that they could get in an elevator and go through a door that would unlock a secret weapon. That sort of dedication to a game from both the developers doing all of that work and then the community trying to figure all of that out, that's really rare. And it's all of those past experiences that I've had and the community at large has had around other Battlefield games that really makes me hope that that could happen again with Battlefield 5. There is an outstanding Easter egg. I think it's named Babel, or I refer to it as Stairway. You might have seen videos from other YouTubers trying to complete it. That's still not complete at the moment. It was accidentally added to the game in the past. It was discovered and then people tried to solve it. It's still not finished at the moment and it has been deactivated for the time being. I'd love for DICE to go and finish that Easter egg and to get it active in the game so that the community can try and solve it properly. If there is anything above all else that Battlefield 5 really needs, it's a repair of the relationship between the development team and the community. After that, negativity around launch, all those missed content launch dates, the really bad 5.2 update that messed up all of the weapons that the community didn't really want to happen. There's been very little for the community to really be excited about outside of the Pacific update back in October 2019. And then unfortunately that was spoiled about 6 weeks later when the 5.2 update went live and all the guns got messed up. Battlefield 4 was in a bad way at one point in its past as well. And I strongly believe that the Phantom program helped keep the community together. The community was interested in the game to some extent because of the Phantom program. So perhaps the same thing could happen with Battlefield 5 and the Stairway Easter egg, if DICE decide to finish it. But there you are, you're all up to date on Easter eggs in Battlefield 5. Thanks very much for watching the video, leave me a rating and a comment, it is much appreciated, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next one.